a review the Mamer Vayiheyu Chayei Sara, Meya Shana ve'esrim Shana ve'sheva Shanim. This was said by the Rebbe early Yom Hey towards Thursday, the evening before Thursday, Parshas Chayei Sara and Chof Marcheshvan. It was the 20th Marcheshvan, which is the birthday of the Rebbe Rashab in the year Tafshin Mem Hey. And it's a very similar mimer to the Rebbe in the same date, matter of fact, but it was in Tafshim Mem Aleph, which was 120 years that finished of the birthday of the Rebbe. And here they actually published later on this mimer, as it says here, in the booklet of Chof Marcheshvan Tinose in Tafshin Nun Aleph. And that was Chof Marcheshvan, in honor of Chof Marcheshvan, which is the 130th birthday of the Rebbe Rashab. This was when it was published. The previous mimer in Tafshin Mem Aleph was the said at the 120th birthday of the Rebbe Rashab. A whole long sikha says in the note here in Shabbos Parshas Vayedo Tazai Marcheshvan that year in Tinose, which is printed in Teres Menachem. All right, we'll do the mimer inside. The h'tשמה early Yom Hey Parshas Chayei Sara Chof Marcheshvan Tavshim Mem. So the pasuk says in the beginning of the parsha, Viheyu Chayei Sara Meya Shana ve'esrim Shana ve'sheva Shanim Shnei Chayei Sara. That Sarah's life was 100 years, 20 years, 7 years. Those were the lives of Sarah. V'dayik ad murmur shab nishmos eid bal yom ha'ilades. So the Rebbe Rashab, the ones whose yom elad v'mamore divra maschil zeh, tishnas ateres, in the Maimer that opens up with the same posik with Vayiheyu Chayei Sara in the year ateres tov reish ayin tes. So he asked the question over there. The pasuk opens up, and the life of Sarah war be counting you today. So why Mefarich Noiseya b'meya and he articulates her years in the hundreds, 100 years, the 10th, 20 years, and the ones 7 years. So what does it add that he says again, this is that life, this is Sarah's life. We already said this is Sarah's life and we gave you all the numbers. So why does he repeat Shnei Chayei Sara? And the Rebbe will explain over there, based on the Zohar, there is one thing that she had the life, and the second emphasis is that she actually became in charge over the life, that the life was actually hers. He explains this based on what we find in the Zohar. The hatam al zeh shebesora davke nemar yinei mei shnei chayeho shloi nemar b'sharimois. That the reason why is it specifically by Sarah that we find the number, the days, how much she lived? We don't find by the other imos, by Rivka, Rachel, Leah, we don't find their age, how much, and only by Sarah. Why by Sarah? The Zohar explains. Who, ki Sarah nochasas, because Sarah descended limitzrayim, v'solkas, and then she went up. Kimo dat amrit, like the pasuk says, vayal Avram mimitzrayim hu v'yishtoi. Avram went up from Mitzrayim, him and his wife. So the fact that Sarah descended and went up, that's why the pasuk says by her. Why? Begin kach zochso l'chayin Elohim. That's why she merited the supreme life, the hamshacha of all these high levels, of the level of Meya Shana, Esrim Shana, Sheva Shanim, is because she went through that experience, that nochsos, V'salkos, she descended and then she went up. And then Umesayim, and then the Zohar Shom, the Zohar concludes, V'aldo dilo havin chayim. And for this, the law, it was her, the life was hers. This is the explanation in the Shnei Chayei Sara. So based on this, he explains in the Mamer, Mashakov al oit pam lemer, Shnei Chayei Sara. Why does he repeat a second time? This is the year of Sara life. Ki Viheyu Chayei Sara hu shezochsin, zochsel l'chayin Elohim. Because Viheyu Chayei Sara is the first step that she merited to get the supreme life. The Meir Shoner, Sheva Shonim, those are all lights, those are high madregas, as we'll see, from Keser, Chochma Bina, and Midas into Sora, which is Malchus. That represents the great level of Chayin Elohim. However, Ushnei Chayei Sara, what is the added? Is Chayin Nasu Shalom, that the life became hers. The Loham, as the Zohar says, they were hers. As the Mamer explains the difference of these two ideas of just having Chayin Elohim and the fact that the Chayin Elohim were her, as the Rebbe will also explain in Avodas Hashem, that when the life becomes yours, you're in charge of life, and which means you're even in charge in the past, as the Rebbe will go into. So she not only got the highest madregas, but she was in charge over them, and therefore she was in full control over all of her life. It didn't just pass her by that she got them, but she was always in charge, as we'll see later on. So, b'tzarich lahavin, hakesher v'hashayich is the pirush hamaymer. We need to understand the connection, the tie, and the connection of the Maimer's interpretation, Sheshnei Chayei Sara hu shachayim nasu shelo, that the Shnei Chayei Sara means that the life became hers. In Pirush Rashi ala Posik, together also with the Rashi and the Posik, Sheshnei Chayei Sara hu shekulam shavim l'toiva. Rashi says that Shnei Chayei Sara means they're all equal to the good. What's the connection? As the Rebbe will say, explain that once the Shnei Chayim becomes hers, then all of the years can become l'toiva because she owns them, they're hers, as we'll see. Base. Vihyuv on ze bahagdim will understand it by introducing the whole hasipurim shebeTorah, that all stories of the Torah is melosh neirah. So when you find a story in the Torah, which means that it's a lesson, so we have to learn from it. But the Rebbe wants to say, especially a story which is happened to the father and the mother, this needs to be a lesson. What are we supposed to learn from this Shnei Chayei Sara? It's not just an old story that took place by Sara, but it means something to us. We have to learn and get the koyach in our own life. So the Rebbe says, so all Torahs are for each and every one of the Jewish people. Whenever we read a story in the Torah, is a lesson. Especially when we talk about the act of the fathers, and the Rebbe adds the bracha and the mothers, because like this, the lashon is ma'aseh avis siman lebanim, but it's also the same thing is for the mothers. Shehem siman on the sinas koyach libanim. They are a sign. Sign meaning what will happen, but they give power, strength to the sons. The kivon shehem ha'avis v'ha'imois shall call echad miYisrael, since they're the father and the mothers of each one of the Jewish people. L'chein ha'inyonim v'avodas shalohem. That's why their matters and their services nimshachim b'Yerusha l'kol echad miYisrael. It extends as an inheritance to each yid. So it's not only a lesson for us, but they give us the strength because we're their children. So it is nimshach to the children as an inheritance from the fathers and mothers, from this case from Sora. According to this, the Torah relates to us that all years of Sora were equal to the good, as Rashi quoted from Rashi on the Chumash. Hu hayro nisinas koyach l'kol echad miYisrael. It's a lesson, and this gives the power for each Jew, for every person of the Yiddish people, shekol shneisov yiyu shavim l'toiva, that all years should be equally for the good. This is the power of a Yid to turn around and make all the years good. And that's when you own it, as the Rebbe will say, the Shneis the law, as the Zohar says. And the Rebbe is going to bring it out, but if we say that we have the power to make whole years good, that seems to be the present and the future. But how do we make the past good? We also have the power to make Shalom L'Tova, as the Rebbe will bring out from the level of Tshuva. So first the Rebbe asks Tzorich Biur, I need to explain this. An instruction for a person seems to be fitting when you talk about the present or about the future. But it doesn't really fit to give an instruction of the past. What happened, happened. It's the past already. Since a person really understands what his situation, his standing in the past, and quoting the Gemara, my Avad Be'urta, that what he did at nighttime, he reminded him, the host over there, Ubahayomim, Shalifniza, and days that would be before the nighttime. So how could we say the person, he knows that he failed? So how could we know, how could we say that there can be all good? It's past is past. And the Rebbe adds in the brackets, even if you didn't do things intentionally, but you did it accidentally. Hey, still the animal soul has overpowered you and caused you to make the mistake. That's also your responsibility. And you can't say to yourself, you're wondering, how am I going to say all for good? It wasn't good. Even if I only made a mistake, even if it was only a mistake, you still can't say that that was good because it was the tikboidus, it was the overpowered of habits. How could we give a lesson? Shakol Shneisov, that all is years Gam Shneisov Shabbat are even years that in past years Shabbat should be equal for the good. And the Rebbe explains Taka Tshuva changes around the past, and we have the ability to do Tshuva, so everything can be Shabbat L'Teva. That's why this is a lesson not only for people who never sinned, but people who did make mistakes and did sin, and now they can still be Shabbat L'Teva through Tshuva Me'ava. Because Tshuva out of love doesn't only make the sins Zdoinis Kishgogis, it makes it Kizochis, it actually becomes mitzvahs. So we can say the explanation is through doing Tshuva of love, Mishanim Games Ovar, we can also change the past. And therefore it's Bekoich, shall call Echad. It is within the power of each one. Gam Mishachota Upogam. Even one who sinned and he blemished and he is gone off the path. Shakol Shnoisov, he still is able to make all the years. Gam Shnoisov Shebe'ovar, Yerushavim L'Toiva. Also, these years of the past should be equal to the good. And this now, we do it when you take control of your life. Life is yours. So the past life, all of your life is yours, so you can change it around. So based on this, we can explain the connection, the tie and the connection of the two interpretation in Shnei Chayei Sara from the Zohar and Rashi. The Lo Havachayin, the Zohar says the life was hers, and also Bekulam Shavim L'Toiva, they were all equal for the good. Kikol Ha'inyonim Shebigashmius, because all things physically evolve from their aspects spiritually. Through this aspect that the life was here, hers, she owned that life as it pertains to the Chayin Elohim, the Viehyu Chayei Sara, the Chayin Lo, they became Shnei Chayei Sara. That's why the life became hers also as literally life. That her physical life was hers. She becomes in charge and control over her life. It's not she's just living the life, but she's in charge. Her life, he's in control of life. Through this, the power was given to every Yid, that all of the days of his life, Gam Hashonim Sha'avru, also the years that have passed, you're in charge of your life, they can also be yours. He should be the one in control over them. And that's why, because he has the power, that's why it was in your power that all your years, also the years that passed, should be equally good, because their past doesn't matter. You can still in control. You own your life, and you can change the past as well. So that's the idea of the law, that you're in control, and then you can fix and make up of all the things of your past as well. And this explains, the Rebbe says now, Nois Gimel, a difficult passage in the Tanya about a Beinoni. When the Alter Rebbe describes the Beinoni, he says he is someone who never will, and he also says who never did violate. But does that mean that a person who violated cannot become a Beinoni? No, because even if you violated, you could take away that you never violated. When you do tshuva ma'ava, which the koyach we get from Sarah, then you can change around your past, so you never violate. Let's look inside. Gimel. Based on this, we'll understand. It's written in the Tanya, Shekol echad yochel liyesh beinani. Everyone can be a beinani. Don't have to be on any level. B'chol eis, at every time, b'chol shah, in every hour. How could you say that could be a Beinani if the definition is of a Beinani? The L'chayre, Kivan Shebeinani, who's Shaloi Avar Aveda Miyom of the Alter Rebbe writes that the Beinani has never transgressed an Aveda from the past. And he was not called by the name Rasha, meaning he didn't do anything to deserve the name Rasha, even for 1 hour, even for one instant his whole life. So how could we demand this, that every Yid could be a Beinoni? How is it every person, says the Alter Rebbe, which would also include the one who did an Aveda? How could we say that Yocheli is Beinoni? How could he be? How could we say that he could be a Beinoni? The Rebbe says the beer is, yes, you can be a Beinoni, because you can change around your past also through the level of tshuva. And just like we have bechira for all mitzvahs, you have bechira to do tshuva, and even more than all mitzvahs, an important mitzvah like tshuva. So we all have the ability to do tshuva. So we could be a Beinoni all the time because we've never done any sin. The fact that you did sin, but you can take that away by doing tshuva ma'ab. We can say the explanation, the mitzvahs, just as it pertains to all mitzvahs. There is permission given to every person. There's nobody to hold you back. Same thing is true with regards to tshuva. Shelakol echad miYisrael yesh lo bechira chofshis lekayim mitzvahs tshuva. Every yid has the free choice to fulfill the mitzvah of tshuva. Each yid can do tshuva because it's a mitzvah. And every mitzvah, every yid has chidduch. Yesh loymar, and the Rebbe says it's not only like all other mitzvahs. The abechir, the mitzvah tshuva, the choice as it pertains to mitzvah tshuva, mitzvahs, it's even more than in other mitzvahs. The fish tshuva he mitzvah close. Because tshuva is a general mitzvah, because it's tshuva on all mitzvahs. It's not a specific mitzvah, but it's repenting on all mitzvahs. And that's why there's a special power given for this, to do tshuva. And then, and another point, Rebbe made. So first of all, just because it's a general mitzvah, that's why it should be more choice there. But the Rebbe says that the truth of the matter is, as soon as a yid does an avera, if he makes the mistake, inside him, he's not feeling good about it. He retracts it. So that's his real self. So all what he needs to do in order to do tshuva is to bring in that which is already in his inside. So it's easier to choose to do tshuva because in his inside he does tshuva immediately. Let's look inside. And more, even more, Kivon shekol echad miYisrael. Reitzelas is called hamitzvahs. Each one of the Jewish people wants to do all the mitzvahs. Ulis rachit min avedas, and to distance himself from avedas. Elo sheyitzreu shetokvei. Problem is the inclination got a hold of you. Hadei kshos aveda heipech ritzoynei da'adam. Hamiti, when you do an Aveda which is against your real wishes, you don't want to do the Aveda, but the Yetzer Hara got hold of you, he forced you to do an Aveda. In his inside, he regrets, it bothers him, he worries about it. That means what? Inside, he does tshuva immediately. And therefore, the fact that we say that nobody can stop you from doing tshuva like all the mitzvahs, you have and in one aspect, it's even more than other mitzvahs. Because the mitzvah of tshuva, all what it needs is to take what's inside you anyways to bring it to the outside. Other mitzvahs, you got to make up a new mitzvah. You got to do it now. Something that wasn't there before. Tshuva is already in your heart. In order to fulfill this mitzvah of tshuva, you don't need to do a new act. Only to reveal the tshuva which is in your inside. This is the meaning that every person can be a Beinoni at every time and every hour, even if you have made mistake. Since you have the freedom of choice to fulfill the mitzvah tshuva, so we're not just talking about stam tshuva, tshuva meira, which is also tshuva, but the main and the whole level of tshuva is tshuva ma'aba. You have the bechira to do tshuva ma'aba. Through tshuva ma'aba, the sin is uprooted from the beginning. It's not there. He can be a Beinoni who never has violated an Aveda. The Rebbe explains the Tanya. While Tanya says that it's expected from everyone to be a Beinoni, how could you be a Beinoni when a Beinoni never violated anything and you know that you did and still we're expecting you to be a Beinoni? because the Rebbe says you can do tshuva ma'ava, and you have the bechira for that, and it's actually easier. And when you do tshuva ma'ava, you actually uproot. You never did an avera.